Hey, this is Nathan Taylor, and I'm just showing you a little bit of background into how I'm creating this application for an iPhone with this neat little application called MobiOne. This is the free version, but you know it's still really great, and I appreciate everything MobiOne has done to create this application. So let's get into it. Right now, what I'm doing is setting up. I'm linking all these buttons you see here. I'm linking them to URLs. Most of them are already linked, but this one happens to not be. So I just go to on click, go to URL, and I change the URL to Stack Overflow. And right now I'm just getting icons online, things like that. The interesting thing is this has its own like completely working iPhone / Android / a shitload of other different kinds of phones. It has its own emulator for all of these devices here, but it's pretty cool. As you can see, it's very, very cool. So, alright, what I'm doing now is I'm going to be getting an icon for, hopefully it's the right sizing. I'm going to be getting an icon for Stack Exchange. It's not the right sizing. I'm just going to set it to the same size as this image. It doesn't actually give me the image size here, or at least I'm not seeing it. So I'm just going to go to where I have that image saved. I'm just going to check the image size, which is standard 30 by 30. So I'm going to set this up to 30 by 30. Yeah, and then I'm just going to place that right there. So it's looking good so far. I'm probably not going to get any other icons for this. I'm not completely sure yet, but I'm just going to grab the icons for Stack Exchange Programmer's site, if I can find one, which I may not be able to since it is a bit large, and I don't know if they have a small version. I don't believe they do, but we'll see how this works out. What I'm doing is there's a small, I don't know if you can see it, there's a small little image button right there, and I'm just dragging that over and then selecting the image I want. So now we're going to set it to 30, set that to 30, and it looks like crap. So going to get an icon of a programmer, and I'm probably going to use that. Oh, and this one looks alright. I don't know how well it's going to resize, but I'll try that one. It really doesn't resize well at all. Let's see if I can find a. Oops, I deleted programmers. Let me see if I can find a smaller programmer image to use. Normally you automatically get smaller images since they're icons, but in this case you don't. I could actually probably go to this page and find something to where is that? Great. Well, as you can see, I do open a lot of tabs, so it actually doesn't surprisingly slow the system down, but I have a shitload of tabs here and here. Anyways, see if I can load this icon. Nope. 404. So I guess I'm just gonna have to grab a different icon. I might just use this. Seems like a nice, like, generic little icon. I usually visit the page to make sure it's the smallest I can get. For example, this is not really a good size, but I'm going to delete that while I'm at it. And I apologize if I'm railing on. It is 3:40 in the morning, and I have not had any sleep. So, you know, sometimes you just get into doing something, and you decide not to sleep. It looks alright. Let's run this and see how it looks. A little bit of a bigger screen. Now, every so often, this can happen and does happen. What happens is MobiOne. I don't know if this is just because of its because it's the trial version, or you know what that is. But every so often, MobiOne does seem to lock up and does not process pages in the. Actually, I believe it's not so much MobiOne, the actual application that's locking up, but it's the iPhone slash, you know, it's the device emulator that's locking up. And the device emulator locks up and then it doesn't load pages correctly. And I spent a lot of time trying to debug some code, only to realize that the problem wasn't the code really. It was the emulator, and after I restarted, there we are. After I restarted the MobiOne and thus the emulator, after I restarted all of that, it seemed to work, you know, perfectly fine again. But just, you know, a word of advice: don't spend, you know, 2 hours trying to debug something when it's really just an issue with you needing to reopen it. So always try that. Some of these icons aren't high quality, but I don't really have access to high quality icons for any of these sites, and even then I am taking the icons for the sites, you know, just randomly from the internet, from random pages. I'm obviously going to give credit due where credit is due, and almost all the credit for this program is due to MobiOne and the Stack Exchange forums. So there we go. You know, actually, I wonder if each page has. It does. Well, what do you know? Each page seems to have a specific directory in which icons are stored. Stack Overflow. Oh, what am I doing? It's there we go. That's a lot better. That is a lot better. I wonder if I think I'm just gonna keep with the trend and download all the. That's Apple Touch. That's Apple Touch. I don't know why I didn't figure this out sooner, but obviously the names are. Doesn't matter. Let's see what else I need. That's pretty sufficient, I think. I wonder what the size on these are, if they're the same, even though this is from a different source. Check that out real quick. No, just be easier to do this. No, don't even need to do that. Just 158, 158. Looks like they're all from the same place. So I have all the icons except the icons for programmers, which I'm going to attempt to grab right now. Very nice. See, now that's something interesting. I would never have found that icon since it's so different from the main icon of the site. If you notice, when you go to the main site, the icon is this. It's a large, you know, it's got the computer and everything. Whereas if I hadn't found this little, you know, access point, I wouldn't have been able to get this nice little coffee icon. So that's definitely a plus. It's always good to, you know, be aware of what you're looking at, what you're doing, and how everything works. It's good because, you know, half the time I'm clueless. So, oh, we're gonna resize that. All right. I don't know if this necessarily looks that good, but they're the traditional icons, and I'd rather have them than some other mismatched icons that don't necessarily work very well, or that aren't necessarily, you know, valid. Alright, there you go. Oh, like I was saying before, I'm going to close, just make sure I don't have anything, make sure I don't have anything up here. I'm just going to reopen, whoop. It's not what I want to undo. Oh well, let's just shortcut. Let's delete these icons that we don't need. And anyways, I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna reopen the entire project since I've saved everything. This is how a Mobi project looks. This is how a MobiOne project opens. And I don't want to give you, you know, a whole overview of how I linked up everything, but basically there are a bunch of separate pages that I linked up, and that's how they work. So let's run this real quick to make sure, you know, before wasn't an error on my part, and there we go. That looks really nice. And I mean, obviously, you know, it doesn't look as good resolution here. But, you know, when you really open it up, you can see that the resolution is actually really nice on it. It's really nice. Yeah, so that works fine. This is an application I just wanted to design on the fly. I'd read about designing iPhone apps before, and I wanted to look into how the code goes together. So that's what I'll be doing. I believe, you know, what Mobi does is it creates, you know, Mobi projects, and then the Mobi projects obviously save to HTML files. So, you know, regardless of you needing to pay for Mobi for continued use, you know, it is open source. Everything, all the code that it generates is here, you know, for you to grab, for you to test, for you to upload, and that's how it's done. So I'm thinking that's really all I'm gonna do. So I'm just gonna get this project ready for release and let you guys know how it goes. So thank you. Now the task: finding out how to close down this HyperCam 3. Soon be someday soon. I hope to learn how to close down HyperCam 3. Oh, did I see something there? No.